Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I am back with another review. And today we're taking a look at from the Wave 1 of Transformers Kingdom. This is Warpath. Because why not take a look at a Wave 1 figure when I have the Wave 2 Deluxes coming by the end of the week? But hey, we've been having a good time on the channel, taking a lot of different things, and that's going to continue. But I figured let's go back and take a look at a Transformer. In fact, one that was actually one of my favorite characters in the G1 cartoon. And now, right off the bat, I want to say, this is a small figure. I knew it was going to be small, but this is even smaller than I realized. Here's my hand. There's Warpath. Much like Cliffjumper, Bumblebee, and Hubcap, and the rest of the mini-bots, Warpath is a little bit of a smaller deluxe. In fact, it really doesn't take up much of the packaging, which is hard to tell with their Hasbro's new ecologically friendly packaging where you only have half a window. Let's see how long that lasts. Tank does roll, and it is a very nice update to that original G1 design. I mean, we've gotten updated Warpaths in the past, original molds and repaints with new heads, but they were more of an H-tank design, and this is the proper regular tank design. Nice little rotation here at the turret. More about turret a little bit later. At the end, we're going to discuss about Warpath's speech and characterization. Something I found out relatively recently that's kind of put a damper on the figure. Now, one thing I do want to mention is, at least on mine, it appears that the panel that the turret sits on, which is a part of the upper torso, doesn't sit as flush because right there where my finger is the hinge panel that the arm's attached to, and it really looks like that they just don't it doesn't sit right. And as you can see, sometimes you move the figure around a little, you do have some gappage here, which, to be honest, I'm not that worried about, especially considering that a lot of people mostly have the gappage up here in the front, and that they need the front panel here to hold it in place. Mine's lucky that even if you remove the paneling, the tank still looks pretty good, although now you have that opening there in the front. So I could theoretically stick this back in the box, but I just stick it on the back of the figure in robot mode. Definitely wish that that gapping's now happening. We're starting to take things apart, but that's about it for the vehicle mode. Let us pause and get into the transformation. Okay, transformation's rather easy. If you haven't already, go ahead and remove that front panel. I want to say, you know what, I just said it's relatively easy. It's involved, but not overly complicated. So what you want to do is split the front, and you want to sort of wiggle jiggle the legs out to the side here so they're sort of angled in. It might help bringing them down slightly, because really what you want to do is be able to unpeg the arms from the side here and just open them up at the armpit joint. With that done, I guess you can go ahead and bring the legs down here at the waist. Sort of unpeg this panel section from this side, which will be the foot. Flip that panel up, rotate the leg so the tread is facing inward. Fold that panel down, snap it into the inside of the leg, then go ahead and flip this whole section up so now the top of the front of the tank is facing towards you. Flip that down, and you're going to go ahead and rotate this whole panel around, and then rotate the leg around so now that gap is inward, and you'll come around the back, fold in this section, which will just tab into a tab back there. So to do that again on this side, bring that down, fold that panel down, rotate, tab that in, rotate this side section up, flip that section down, rotate it all the way around, and then rotate the leg around so it's facing the right way, and fold that up. Once you do it a couple times, it's actually not that complicated, and I do like how you do end up rotating the leg around almost completely to get the feet done. But you do have those nice oversized feet, very indicative of the original G1 toy and animation design. Now, to continue along with the transformation, come back here, open up this back panel, flip up the robot head, close up that back panel. It will just tab right in. Make sure the barrel for the tank is straight, and push it in all the way so it's flush. And now it's going to come a part that's, many people have said is the trickiest part of the transformation. What you want to do is flip up this panel, fold in this tab, push this panel down so it'll come in underneath. Now, getting that out to go back into tank mode is a little tricky, especially if you have little sausage fingers like I do. So once that's done, go ahead, rotate this whole section up. That will snap into place. Bring the arms down to the side. Untab this back tread section. Fold it around so it kind of pegs, sandwiches in behind the forearm. And there you have Warpath in its robot mode. Let me adjust the camera so we can get it all in right there. Now, coming with the shield, you can peg it right there into the arm, like a little bit like the Zaku. I just basically peg it in the back here, sideways. If you try to have it sit up, it hangs over the head just a little too much. So this is a little bit more out of the way. You do still have the waist articulation here, just like so. And everything else kind of works out fairly fine. You do have the universal joints here in the shoulder, bicep swivel, 90-degree bend, universal joint at the waist, nice knee bend, and a little bit of ankle pivot right there. Oh god, did I just open it up all the way? There we go. Yeah, that's a little strange sound it's making, but there you go. And and Warpath does have a ball jointed head, but the design of the head is a little limiting at best. But this is all stuff I'm sure most of you already know. You've probably seen several reviews of Warpath several times over. I do want to say that some of the joints are not loose, but some of them are a little bit tighter than others, which kind of makes it a little fiddly, whereas you'll move one thing and that will result in something else moving, especially for when I was talking about this back panel. When you're trying to flip it up, you'll almost instinctively move this joint and hinge that the arms are on, but it works out. I kind of dig Warpath. So let's pause and come back with my final thoughts. I had mentioned in the beginning something I've recently found out about Warpath and the characterization and voice stylings used in the cartoon. Now, older fans such as myself will remember Warpath, I think, was voiced by Alan Oppenheimer, known as the voice of Skeletor, and had a very unique speech pattern that used a lot of onomatopoeia. Well, very recently, I say the last 6 months or so, it's sort of come out that Warpath was characterized as possibly having Tourette's, which was a play on the words, the fact that it's a tank and tanks have turrets. turrets, Tourette's. That kind of changes things a little because Tourette's is actually a very serious speech condition and not something that you would normally want to make a light of in a children's cartoon. As I mentioned, in the title of this video, there's a South Park episode where Cartman pretends to have Tourette's to try and get presents and stuff. And it leads him on a journey of learning a lot about Tourette's, and that it's not just speech, but also physical tics and stuff like that, and just how hard people who have Tourette's, life is for them. So, kind of food for thought, and not something I'm entirely thrilled with. Yes, it was the 1980s, but kind of gives you a little bit more of an explanation to Warpath's character. And it's not the first time Hasbro has had an issue like this. Remember the old G.I. Joe character Zartan, the first run of file cards that were written by Larry Hama mentioned how Zartan was a paranoid schizophrenic. Well, one day, Larry was visiting his friend who was the director at Bellevue Hospital here in New York, and the director was showing him the patients who had paranoid schizophrenia, and Larry realized that there was no way anyone who was a paranoid schizophrenic could ever be a operative for an organization like Cobra. So they had to change that. So, maybe there'll be some changes if Warpath is ever used in the future cartoons or media, like the upcoming series. But for the figure, this is kind of nice. But again, like as I said at the beginning, like Cliffjumper and Bumblebee, you are dealing with a smaller scaled deluxe figure. So, if you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. While your views are always much appreciated, your likes, comments, and subscriptions help communicate to YouTube through the mystical, magical algorithms that my channel is one that should be exalted and held upon high. If you want to make the ultimate sign of support, please consider joining my Patreon. All I ask for is $1 a month or $12 a year. No thrills, no tears, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help me and help you bring figures like Warpath to you, as well as keeping the infrastructure up of the channel. It is www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. There is a hyperlink in the description below because I kind of finally figured out how to get those to work. There used to be a card, but alas and alack, those don't work anymore, and I haven't been able to figure out how to get them to work. So really just click the link in the description below, or again, go to www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. And as I always say, if you can't afford the $1 a month or $12 a year, watching the videos is more than enough support, and I truly do appreciate it. With that said, this is your old pal Chuck for Warpath. We will see you next time.